Hey guys, it's me, Mikey, and I'm going to show you how to stretch your ears with the taping method. First, I'm going to tell you what not to use. These, or this. In that order, that was tapers, silicone, and electrical tape. You don't want to use tapers after 2 gauge because after that, the 2 gauge jump to 0 gauge is 2 millimeters. And that is way too much for your ears to handle all at once, and it'll make your ears swell up, blow out, tear, whatever. Silicone does something similar. It opens up really quickly. See how it just opens up, and that can tear your ear, it can rip it apart. And then you can have reactions to it. I've seen very, very gross pictures on the internet of people who have little itty-bitty strands for ears because they use these to stretch. And you shouldn't use electrical tape because it's adhesive. You want to stay away from adhesive tapes. So no Scotch tape, no duct tape, none of that. There's 2 types of tapes you can use. PTFE tape, or Teflon tape, and bondage tape. The reason you want to use tape is because unlike tapers and silicone, it's a slow, gradual process of making your ear bigger, which is much healthier for you than just forcing something in your ear. Always be sure to lubricate your tape plugs. I personally use jojoba oil. I got this 4 ounce for about $15 at a local market. Amazon is a really good place to get it. I got this for $13 there, so do that. I personally prefer bondage tape over Teflon tape just because Teflon tape is really drying, it's really thin, and it's really, really hard to deal with. Bondage tape is just a little bit thicker and it's a little bit easier to work with. Now we have to get to what kind of plugs you can use. You should use single flare, glass, or stainless steel, or titanium plugs. The reason I say single flare is because it's much easier to get into your ear. I believe that double flares kind of put an unnecessary trauma on your ear when you're taping up. It's a little bit easier to make sure that your plugs don't fall out in your sleep or something when you go to sleep with your tape plugs in, but I just find it easier personally to use single flares. The reason you want to use glass, steel, or titanium is because, well, they're healthy for your ear. The reason I like to use glass is because it doesn't have an O-ring groove, and that's easier to tape with, and it's just less likely for your ear to catch onto the O-ring groove if it's too deep or something on a single flared steel tunnel, and you can blow out your ears, you can rip it that way. I've seen it happen. You don't want to use acrylic or silicone to tape up with. I've seen some people do that and it doesn't look very good. For this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to tape this with this. You're going to want to kind of tape it around, try to make it even with your flare, and just kind of tape over it. You should probably do a couple wraps with this, just because it's since it's so thin, it's just really easy to mess up and mangle, like I already did. And just do a few wraps, no big deal. I use sewing scissors myself to just cut it. Done deal. It's not very well done, obviously. Just put some jojoba oil on it. Just make sure you want to get it really so it's like see-through almost, and then pop it in your ear and you're set. Next is bondage tape. I really like it because it's slightly thicker, it's really easy to work with, but you do have to cut it a certain way. I've heard it can rip some people's ears if it's too dry. It's like all jagged. It's not very good. I like to start off with 1 layer at a time and try to work my way up, because since it is slightly thicker, you don't want to give your ears too much. What you want to do is you want to roll the tape over the plug and then just kind of cut it off. Meet it up with the flare. Roll it. Let's say I didn't do very well, so I'm just going to cut it here. This is just an example, don't tape your ears like this. Got it. Don't cut yourself. Kind of get it even with the flare. Make sure it's even with the flare. Just kind of tape over. I use like a wrap and a half my first time just to make sure it sticks to itself. And I grab my trusty scissors. There you have it. There's a taped plug. I'm not gonna. Normally you would smooth it out because you can kind of tell that there's little things here that can kind of bother you or might not be so easy to insert. I personally wrap 1 or 2 wraps a week with bondage tape. It is possible to blow out and rip your ear by the taping method. I've seen it done, I've seen it happen. It's not pretty. Only go as much as your ears can handle. Don't try to rush taping. It will end bad. Always make sure you oil them up and make sure your ear's ready for it. It normally takes me about like 3-4 weeks just to stretch with the taping method. And that's fine by me. I just let my ears do its thing. Just listen to your body. That's really all you can do. Alright, well, I'm Mikey, and I just show you how to tape your ears with the taping method.